Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps and you are here for another Maker Morning tutorial with Meg. It's Tuesday and we are going to build on a project that I showed you last week. So remember this fabulous Friday tutorial with the messiness kind of thing, but we did that embossing paste, and as I had that out, I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to put this away. This stuff is really fun. So I grabbed my embossing paste, which I just realized is back here, and I grabbed my Dandy dies, so Dandy Wishes dies, these guys, and this time I decided that we are going to use this stem here. So thank you guys for tuning in this morning. All right, so I'm gonna flip you guys down here. There we go. And we are going to, again, use the Dandy cards and more. So 20 cards in a package. They come like this. They're white on the inside, printed background on the front, and a really pretty printed envelope. So we're going to make a card this time that really features both our embossing paste and our cardstock. Now, when I showed this on Friday, I made a comment that this die is really pretty, but it doesn't have like enough presence to be visible on a background like this. So maybe if I made it a really dark color or something like that, but I decided to really show this off. If I add a layer to this card, that would make a big difference. So this layer is cut to have the same border all the way around. So it's 5 inches tall and 3 inches wide, and that's going to give you this pretty border around the edge. So what we want to do is we want to add some embossing paste here with this as our shadow. So I'm going to take my mask cardstock. Remember, I'm doing mine out of black. You can do it out of anything. If you want to reuse this, making this out of thick white is a good choice. If you missed last Friday's video for the other card version, the link is in the video description. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this with my die cut machine once there and then once here. So we get 2 flowers. And ta-da, through the magic of television, we have our dies here. And then I am going to go ahead and place this here so that we can put our mask on and add our embossing paste. Now, before I get to that though, we're gonna layer some dragonflies this time. I'm gonna use Dragonfly Garden, which is the companion set for Garden Wishes that I used last week. And I wanna use a dragonfly as well as a greeting from here. I think this thank you for your kindness is a great card to have on hand. And so I'm going to start with a dragonfly, but before I do our embossing paste, I'm going to go ahead and add some dragonflies in the background because then we're going to have a fun layered look. And so I'm going to use my Bumblebee ink pad, and I'm going to put one kind of down here so he looks like he's kind of headed off the bottom of our page. And then I'm going to put one here that kind of looks like he's headed maybe onto our page. Let's see. I'll kind of stick him here. All right. And yeah, that should be good. Okay, so now we have these guys set, and we're going to come back in here with our mask. All right. And you can see that I'm going to get just a little overlap here on our bottom dragonfly, which is fun because that's going to make the most of sort of that fun for us. And I'm going to flip it over the back side just to make sure that I've kind of positioned this where I want. And now I bring in my embossing paste. Now, last week we did some coloring of our embossing paste so that we would get this sort of ombre look here on our embossing paste flowers. I love the texture of these, just feeling them. They're stiff, so they're not real velvety, but they look velvety because that ink is so rich in there. But we're going to go ahead and just use it straight white this time, which is going to kind of give us our colors, right? So we have our white and our bumblebee here, and we're going to have our white and our bumblebee here. So I'm going to pick up the paste, and this one, you don't have to use up gobs of extra paste. I'm going to put it on my mask, and then I'm going to smooth it across here with my palette knife. And the palette knives are in the supply list here for this card too. And you'll notice I'm spreading away from the detail there because I don't want to damage our mask. I don't want to peel those layers up by like poking against them. So once you've got the paste on, you can afford to go back and forth a little bit, but until you have that on there, you really don't want to rock the boat by by pushing those mask pieces backwards. All right, and I'm gonna stop before the bottom here. I don't really want that to, I don't really want to have a stark like finish right off the bottom of our card. I want it to sort of fade out. And if I can pick this up without it coming apart, there we go. I love this little detail here too, where the paste ended up kind of not completely filling there. So, all right, working with embossing paste, close it right away and clean your palette knife right away, which I forgot to grab my, there we go, cleaner here. So just a tissue works fine. You just wanna make sure you get as much paste off as possible. Once it's dry, it is not very water soluble. It's really hard to get off. So just clean it right away. All right, so now I'm gonna peel this up and the big reveal is like this. So we have our very dainty pieces there with our embossing paste. And the texture of this is great. I don't know if it comes across real well in the video. It looks a little bit like a piece of cardstock maybe on the video, but it really, I'm not gonna wipe it now because it's still wet. It really is very like tactile. It's a nice texture looking piece. So, all right, I got some paste on my background scratch paper, so I'm gonna watch out for that. And we will bring our card back in here and see how nice that is where our flower went across the dragonfly. Okay, so I've got this settled. I'm gonna bring our dragonfly back in here because I wanna add one with our punch. I love the coordinating, big fan of the coordinating dragonfly punch. But I don't really want it to be white cardstock because I don't want it to take away from this effect here. And I don't really want it to be the dark cardstock. So I'm gonna go with So Saffron, which you see these two next to each other, is a perfect match. I love that Stampin' Up! Has enough cardstock colors that it makes it easy to go with tints and shades of different tones. So, all right, I'm gonna grab this here and line it up in punch. And I'm gonna use, I think, both of these punch pieces. The bigger one lines up here. The smaller one is a great accent. And then we're gonna need a greeting. So I said we'd use Thank You for Your Kindness, which is on a block around here somewhere because it's not on my, is it? Oh, no, I put it away. How efficient of me. Way to clean up, Meg. So I have my greeting here and my Memento Black ink pad. And a small black avalanche. I'll pick those up in a little bit. And so I'm gonna go ahead and mount this here on my Memento. If you've never seen me mount stamps before, I always do them that way. Set your stamp down and then just pick it up with a block. So much easier to place and know that it sits in its native shape and so forth. So I'll go this way. And I'm gonna bring back in my tailored tag punch, which I've talked about sort of the organicness of this kind of design element, these flowers and dragonflies and so forth. This tailored tag punch is not very organic. It's not very like a natural shape. And so it really makes your greeting stand out because it really is a contrast from what you've already got on your project. So I'm a big fan of that. So we're gonna put our greeting on like this. And where did my punch dragonfly go? I think our dragonfly is going to come up like this. And our little one will pop up here. But I feel like it needs something more. So we're going to add an embellishment here with our bumblebee ribbon. And these are the in color ribbons for this year. So they are in the annual catalog. And I'm gonna use that same trick I used last week that I showed you to add the ribbon to the back of our card. So I'm gonna put a piece of Stampin' Dimensionals across the back, which gives us a place to adhere our ribbon. And I think instead of a full zigzag, I'm just gonna go with a loop at one end and sort of some tails on the other. So I'm actually doing this from the front side so that I can see where it's going and then just tapping it into the adhesive on the back. So if you're wondering why I could see the front while I'm doing it, and then, goodness gracious. There we go. I always like to trim the ribbon at an angle. So there we have our card. And then I'll always flip it to the back and make sure that there's enough dimensionals on there to actually hold our tag in place and maybe reaffirm the position on some of the pieces of ribbon. So, all right, we have this. We have our dragonfly. I think we can go ahead and stick this down. So I'm gonna pop this here towards the center. I'm gonna grab our dragonfly out from under because I don't actually want him underneath. He's gonna be on top here to kind of emphasize. And then I don't really wanna press down on this yet. It's still drying, so I'm going to do the super risky job of putting adhesive on my card and then hoping that I didn't get it outside the edges of my element, my panel here. Okay, and then I'm gonna attach the panel without squishing that texture still. And then we have our dragonflies to put on. So I have the larger one here, and you can see how by making this that lighter yellow color, it really pops off of the page, but it doesn't compete with the greeting because we don't have to, you know, it's not the white background, so it would compete for your attention with the greeting right there. So for something small like this, I always use my multi-purpose liquid adhesive, and I'm gonna pop him kind of up here like that. So, or her. I don't know. All right, so then we have our finished card. So this one goes, of course, perfectly with the envelopes here that are the pretty designs on them. And it gives you another idea on how to use these Memories and More cards along with the embossing paste and the stamps and punches and dies from the Dandy Garden suite. This suite really is a lot of fun and great as we are thinking spring and summer. This one's gonna really last us a good amount of time for this coming set of seasons. So I hope that your Tuesday is fabulous. Thank you guys. There we go. Sorry. Hope your Tuesday is fabulous. Thank you guys for joining us and for checking out another Dandy Garden card using the embossing paste. I hope that I've kind of inspired you to get this stuff out if you have it, and to think about adding it to your wish list if you don't have it yet, and give it a try. It really is a lot of fun, either just plain white or with the more elaborate colored backgrounds like we did last Friday. So thank you guys for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another Maker Mornings with Meg. Happy stamping!